here for everyone your system ever wrong. They've known all along the enemy was always you. The real threat wore a suit and sung a patriotic song while selling their own citizens and calling it strong. Stealing from your own people, making them bleed, taking tax dollars just to fund your own greed. They waking up to the lies, the illusions of burst. You screamed America first, now you put losers first. Make Israel great again. Your government is run by pedophiles. They ordered you to die for Israel. They ordered you to die for Israel. They lied to you all. We saw everything. If the public ever saw the files, man, the planet would shake from the level of filth and the crimes in your wake. No wonder Jeff called you the worst, you degenerate snake. You claimed you never set foot. You went 40 plus times. You sick bastard, you cooked. We stepping up to the plate. Epstein regime gotta fall. You fake Christian elite sacrificing the ball. Demon, you talk real big for a man with tiny hands. Tiny hands, tiny things, tiny everything. We saw everything, and word got out. The smallness kinda expands. No wonder all those rage tweets, all those desperate rants. Overcompensating, bully, always causing a scene. You said you love losers. Well, look at your team. Your government is run by. Your government is run by pedophiles. They ordered you to die for Israel. They ordered you to die for Israel. They lied to you all.
What's up? What's up?
Hey.
What's up? What's up? We're letting people trail in, bro. Let people get up in here. We're going to play it again. Hopefully you can just catch what kind of vibe I'm in today.
Orange pig, America first? Oops. Oh boy, that was the slogan you sold. But baby's pulling strings and your vote is getting cold. We're not just fighting for Iran, hear this clear. Your people reached out to us, yeah, we got the DMs here. If one nation's gonna stand against the Epstein regime's fear, it's us till the last breath, we've been doing it for years. We're standing here for everyone your system ever wrong. They've known all along the enemy was always you. The real threat wore a suit and sung a patriotic song while selling their own citizens and calling it strong. Stealing from your own people, making them bleed, taking tax dollars just to fund your own greed. They waking up to the lies, the illusions of burst. You screamed America first, now you put losers first. Make Israel great again. Your government is run by pedophiles. They ordered you to die for Israel. They ordered you to die for Israel. They lied to you all. We saw everything. If the public ever saw the files, man, the planet would shake from the level of filth and the crimes in your wake. No wonder Jeff called you the worst, you degenerate snake. You claimed you never set foot. You went 40 plus times. You sick bastard, you cooked. We stepping up to the plate. Epstein regime gotta fall. You fake Christian elite sacrificing the ball. Demon, you talk real big for a man with tiny hands. Tiny hands, tiny things, tiny everything. We saw everything, and word got out. The smallness kinda expands. No wonder all those rage tweets, all those desperate rants. Overcompensating, bully, always causing a scene. You said you love losers. Well,
Sing it with me. Come on. Let's go. Sing it.
government is run by. Your government is run by pedophiles. They ordered you to die for Israel. They ordered you to die for Israel.
They lied to you all. What's up, motherfuckers? Here we are today. What's up, Team Human? What's up, dude? That shit just gets me going, boy. That shit just gets me fucking going. What's up, motherfuckers? Shit, what's up, dude? What's up, dude? Who do we got up over here already? Hell yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah. We got 6 people up over here on fucking Facebook. Let's go. What's up, Clarissa, Maybe Lee, Julia, Jay Smooth, Melissa Clark. Clarissa's up in his house. Let me get this chat going. Actually, we're going to wait to get the chat on the screen until after today's opening mindful message. It's a banger today. I hope you guys have been here. If you guys have been here the last few days, I've tried my best to just really just put out some bangers. You know what I'm saying? They are longer videos, so later when if you see them now and then you see me post them on my social media platforms, 15, 8 minutes, 9 minutes. If you could just please just, even if you've already heard it, just smash those buttons for me. I truly appreciate it. How's everybody doing today? What's good? Team Human in the house, boy. What's up, what's up, what's up? Did everybody see my Jesus one yesterday? Been really trying to just upgrade, you know what I'm saying? How do you like the dreadlocks? The dreadlock Rasta man. You know. Jano man. De bomba clout. What's up, YouTube? What's up, YouTube? I see you. What's up, Jeff? Let's go. What's good? Where am I at? Okay. What's up? Melissa's on a 10 stream streak. Let's go. Today is just about Epstein, bro. We're going to get into some shit about Epstein. I don't know. I just start getting in these weird vibes, you know, where it's like, oh, love and light and laughter and oh my gosh, let's connect to source. And then there's other days where I just get in this vibe where it's like, today's the day I'm dedicating my entire, all my content, my entire stream to just trying to understand this motherfucking 60,000-year-old satanic pedophilic cult, bro. And talk about it and just allow people to just enter into a space where uncomfortable things are talked about. We can have these conversations about these uncomfortable things without necessarily even having to ever enter an arena that's hostile to where we start fighting amongst each other. We can just talk about complex or even uncomfortable topics and still have things to take away from it instead of just seeing all of the negative and seeing all of the disgusting demons that are eating our kids, bro. Okay? You heard me? You heard me? You heard? They locking, huh? What's up? Cheers. Hit the gym already today. I've been pumping out some content. You're right. We have to keep talking about it or people will stop talking about it. I've got some clips, some stuff that happened today, and then we're going to just maybe end up at some crazy documentary towards the end. I'm not quite sure, but we'll also be looking through web. We're going to be really up in web today because we are going to deep dive on web into one specific individual, maybe two specific individuals. You might know one of them is Leslie Groff. She actually just testified in front of the Oversight Committee. So, you know, here we are. We got 8 fucking beautiful humans on Facebook, bro. Thank you guys for being here. We've got 7 beautiful ass humans up over on Twitch. Thank you guys for being here. We've got 2 beautiful ass humans up over on YouTube. Thank you guys for being here. You guys know right now, we're going to do this every single stream in the beginning because, you know, things get heavy and things get dark. If everybody right now, while I'm speaking, can just comment something they're grateful for. Let's just start today's stream with gratitude for the things that we have before we dive into all this crazy, deep, dark, demonic shit. So the things that I'm currently grateful for is that I have the ability to communicate my feelings effectively. I have the ability to be able to communicate my thoughts effectively. I have the ability to be aware when I'm impatient with my children so that in all the moments that I am able to progress in that aspect, I'm able to still stay aware and be able to think about my behavior and the way that I've spoken to my kids, and maybe over enough time I'll be able to be more patient instead of less patient. Gratitude is a frequency that you can tune in at any time that literally changes your whole entire being at a molecular level. Not just your frequency, not just your mindset. It literally does things anatomically to your body, to your nervous system, to your lungs, to your cells, to the energetic state that you find yourself in currently at this moment. Just by commenting and actually resonating in the frequency of genuinely being grateful for something can change your life if you can just step into that arena once a day at least. Just once a day. Just have genuine gratitude for the things that are here. Not worry about what the future holds, and not hate yourself for what the past held. All you have to do is just be grateful. And I'm eternally, and I tell you guys this too much. Sometimes I feel I get a little bit too sappy, woo-woo, wah-wah, crybaby little pussy boy. But I just tell my feelings how they are. I really do love all of you. If you come in here one time and then you don't jump up on my live or interact with my stuff for like 4 months, I love you today and I love you then. Thank you guys for allowing me to just even feel the confidence within myself to even follow this dream that I have. A lot of people don't even really even get to this place. to where they find purpose, and then they're able to put all of their energy into that purpose. And you guys listening to me for as long as you've been listening, whether it's been 2 months, 1 month, a week, 3 days, you started following me today, you've been following me for years. You guys are the ones that really truly allow me to do this. It's all because of you. None of this would even be possible if you guys weren't here listening. If you guys weren't here interacting with me, if you guys weren't here metaphorically and metaphysically, energetically filling up my spiritual fuel tank so that I can continue to dive into the deepest and darkest of shit, and still within 15 minutes of turning off my live, still record a video promoting positivity. You guys are that gas. You guys are that fuel. And I just genuinely really love you guys. What's up, motherfuckers? You guys ready to get into today's shit? Damn, we got 13 people up over on Facebook right now. Yeah, we're going with that just dreadlock swanging. You heard me? I did see your last text. It was about your package. If you have a... Okay, now I see that text. Okay. So we'll just play it by ear, see how it goes. Everybody, can we all just take a few deep breaths? Something that's happening currently in my wife's realm of the matrix that she works at is that she's worked there for 6 years. She was the first female employee to make it to upper operations managers, and she's grinded. She makes more money than almost every person that's at her level combined for the company, and she just had her yearly, and she asked them if she could work half days and not work half day and come home and be a mom for the rest of the days, even though every time she's ever worked from home, she's always succeeded in her job. They've never had a problem with her working from home, and she just wants to come home to just spend a little bit more time with her children. So can we all just take a few deep breaths, all just put our mind's eye into Queen Trip? And I'm telling you, that's what this is. You're going in there to talk about that stuff because you're going to get exactly what you asked for. Even though the first time they came back and said what they said, they're coming back with something different. They're coming back with what is already meant to happen. It's so that you can come and actually get what you want. You've put in the work. You've put in the grind. You grind every single day, 8 hours a day for a job that doesn't really show a lot of appreciation to you in the ways that you feel you need appreciation. They do show appreciation, but it's kind of like a blanket appreciation. You know what I mean? So I just want to say I love you, babe, and don't worry about it. It's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. You know what I'm saying? You got your homegirl up over there in HR who resonates with your feelings, and you have no idea what's happened behind the scenes. Hell yeah. Can everybody just say, we love you, Queen Trip? We love you, Queen Trip. We've got 10 people up over here on Facebook. Let's go, Facebook. 11 and 1. We got fucking 25 people up in here, bro. Oh, not 25. I was looking at a different number. We've got 21 peeps on here. We love you, Queen Trip. All right. You guys ready for today's opener? Today's going to be a banger. So if you're on Facebook, first, let me just do this, bro. Let me just do this. If you're on Facebook, bro, I'm trying to hit a goal of 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Tripoverdrip, all one word on YouTube. You can see that I'm live right here. Tripoverdrip. I'm at 953. I need 47 more subscribers. I'll drop the link in Facebook. If you guys could just jet over to YouTube and just hit the sub button for me, it'd be much appreciated. I don't want to necessarily take people from Facebook, but you will probably have a better experience watching the stream on Facebook, on YouTube, I mean, than you will on Facebook. You see how it's vertical? YouTube. I just think YouTube and Twitch are better just to like watch longer streams. I wouldn't necessarily want to watch a stream like this, but if you're here for it, you're here for it. Hell yeah. You guys ready to get into today's opener? Dang, we've already been live for 15 minutes. Let's go. All right. Today's going to be a doozy. Okay. Cheers. There's a conspiracy so baked into the modern world, most people never even realize it's there. It's not the Illuminati. It's not just triangles on dollar bills. It's this. Like, who actually sits around the fire making the stories that run your life? And what are they doing when you're not looking? Because depending on which circles you pay attention to, you don't just get different explanations, you get different realities. And if you've gone deep enough down the rabbit hole to know the key words like Bohemian Grove, Freemasonry, Skull and Bones, secret societies, or even Jeffrey Epstein, please just slip the words Team Human somewhere in the comments so that I know that you're not just doom scrolling and that you're here because a part of you still wants to wake up and still wants to stay human. But before we go any further, let me just tell you this straight, bro. I'm not here to tell you that all of these rumors are true. I'm not here to mock you for asking questions that nobody else will ask. I'm not here to worship these groups and or give them more power. I'm here because I care about discernment, about spiritual resilience in a world where power loves hiding behind pageantry and paperwork. And if you can hold nuance, and you can hear about rituals in the redwoods or symbols on lodges or billionaires with private islands, without either blind fear or blind denial, you're in the right place. So please hit the follow button. So Bohemian Grove, the Redwood Theater of Power. It starts in the woods in California. Bohemian Grove is a 2,700-acre private campground in Monte Rio, California, owned by the Bohemian Club. The club began in San Francisco in the 1870s as an invite only for men, like a group of artists or writers or lawyers or journalists, and it evolved into an elite social network for business leaders, politicians, and cultural power brokers. And every July, hundreds of powerful men, presidents, CEOs, bankers, defense contractors, media, and policy figures would gather in the Redwoods for a multi-week retreat. No phones were allowed. No cameras. They would say something like, "Weaving spiders come not here." Their motto about leaving business deals at the gate, even through history, shows policy ideas and informal networking still flow. Even though history shows policy ideas and informal networking still flow. At the center of all the mythos is one ritual. It's called the cremation of care. It's a nighttime ceremony in front of a huge stone owl where robed figures would enact a theatrical sacrifice of a figure representing world worries, burning it in front of the owl while music and speeches play. Now, members say it's just a symbolic theater, like play acting the release and stress of worldly burdens. Critics and researchers, though, see something way more and way deeper. A private, male-only priesthood of power, dramatizing the burning of conscience in front of an idol out in the forest, far from public accountability. What do we know? The grove, the club, the owl, and the rituals are real and documented. It's not just some conspiracy theory. And it's deeply secretive, like no public access, no transparent records of what is said or decided. It functions as a network node where extremely influential men bond, party, watch plays, and build trust. Is it a satanic temple? Is it a goofy LARP for old rich guys? Is it a place where future policies get floated over whiskey and campfires? Depending on your lens, you'll answer that differently. But you can't deny that power loves ritual and privacy. And if you're here, you've already heard the term Freemasonry. the builders, the symbols, the society with secrets. So if you zoom out of Bohemian Grove, out of the forest to the lodge, Freemasonry is one of the world's oldest fraternal organizations with roots in medieval stonemason, with roots in with guilds of stonemasonry and cathedral builders. Modern masonry is speculative, and it uses tools like a square and compass as symbols to teach a moral and spiritual code. In their own framing, Freemasonry is a beautiful and profound system of morality veiled in allegories and illustrated by symbols. Not a secret society, but a society with secrets, meaning private grips, passwords, and handshakes, and symbols and signs. The core elements, though, the square is an emblem of morality and right conduct. The compass, they say that it represents self-restraint and balance over one's desires. The letter G is often interpreted as geometry or God or the great architect of the universe, a generic term so members of multiple faiths can participate. From inside, Masonry emphasizes integrity, brotherhood, charity, and beliefs in a higher power. From the outside, though, people see closed-door rituals, oaths of secrecy, overlaps between Masonic symbols, state architecture, and the founding fathers of our country, a long history of Masons in politics and in business. That intersection of symbolic language, influence, and privacy has fed centuries of conspiracy theories, the Illuminati, the one world government, hidden puppet masters. Often the claim goes way beyond the evidence, but you don't need a single globe script for a fraternity of influential men bound by ritual and loyalty to shape culture. It's enough that they know each other, trust each other, and are taught to see themselves as part of like a higher, more enlightened inner circle. Some of you might have heard, but never have heard at the same time, of a group called the Skull and Bones, or the Old Boys Network. We went from the forest to the lodge, and now we go to college campuses, and we'll see the same pattern. Skull and Bones is at Yale, Order 322. It's a senior secret society founded in 1832. Each year, it taps a small group of students who gain lifetime membership in a tight, secretive network with its own rituals and lore. Over time, members have gone on to become U.S. presidents, senators, cabinet members, CIA directors, intelligence officials, corporate and banking leaders. Some say the Skull and Bones is the Illuminati, and that it controls the CIA and drives a global authoritarian agenda. Scholars and investigative writers tend to land in a more grounded place. It's not a magical world government council. It's a supercharged old boys network that gives a small group of privileged students a private on-ramp into power, backed by ritualized loyalty and secrecy instead of transparency and equal access. So what are the soft motifs? An insular group, intense bonding rituals, lifelong influence across institutions. You don't necessarily need a literal occult pact when you've got a very human pattern. People with shared secrets tend to take care of each other. And now we're going to talk about Jeffrey Epstein. Everybody knows about Jeffrey Epstein, or at least they should. Epstein was a wealthy financier who ran what courts and investigators have described as a criminal operation involving sexual abuse and the traffic of minors, aided by a network of enablers. He cultivated a vast web of connections to politicians, billionaires, celebrities, intellectuals, academics, scientists, doctors, psychologists, the AI tech realm, and royalty all the way across the globe, even after his 2008 conviction of being a sex offender. Documents and reporting show he leveraged wealth, philanthropy, and access into elite circles to curate a network of influence that included high-profile bankers, business leaders, academics, and political figures. The flight logs, the court record, and the Epstein files reveal a structure where properties, private flights, and exclusive events doubled as tools for control, leverage, and secrecy. Survivors and advocates argue that powerful institutions and wealthy allies helped sustain this operation, whether though active enabling or willful blindness, long after it was clear who he was. Some analysis describe Epstein as a people collector. Someone who used introductions, money, and opportunities to entangle people at different levels of his world, creating layers of plausible deniability. You could attend dinners, share information, and fly on jets without seeing the abuse directly, while the darkest crimes happened in parallel. There are even serious discussions about possible intelligence angle where he functioned as a kind of asset, gathering information on the elites publicly. That remains unproven. We all know the truth. He built a real-world criminal network that looked on the surface just like another high society cluster of philanthropy, finance, and private islands. And this is where the pattern gets really hard to ignore. Elite social clubs guarding privacy, secret or exclusive fraternities binding loyalty, high net worth networks shielding a predator because he still had value. Different names, different aesthetics, the same structural logic though. And this is why it matters so much to me, and it should matter to Team Human. You might be asking yourself, why does Bohemian Grove, Freemasonry, Skull and Bones, and the Epstein network is so important that we have to talk about them all in the same breath without collapsing them into one like cartoon villain? It's because they all raise the same spiritual question, bro. What happens when power organizes itself around secrecy and the value of the network becomes more important than the value of human life? In the Epstein case, the answer is just straight and obvious and brutal. It's a trafficking ring that targeted minors, it was shielded for years by money, status, and institutional complicity. There's a secret world of the rich and powerful where favors, flights, introduction, and PR advice keep flowing even though everyone knew he was a sex offender. A system where, as some observers put it, security services and elites likely knew enough to act but didn't because the network itself was far too valuable. So when people roll their eyes at like secret societies, they're often missing the deepest point. You don't need every lodge or grove to be a child sacrificing cult for this to be spiritually serious. You just need enough places where conscience gets cremated in the name of the group. Conscience. Loyalty to the circle outranks loyalty to the truth. Victims become acceptable collateral damage as long as the pipeline of money, access, and the power remains intact. Team Human is the opposite of that. Team Human says no network is so important that it justifies protecting a predator. Team Human says no ritual, symbol, or tradition is sacred if it demands the sacrifice of children, truth, or basic human dignity. Team Human says no one is too connected or too useful to not be held accountable. This is not about living in fear of owls, symbols, or lodges. It's about refusing to outsource your morality to any club, party, or inside circle, spiritual, political, or financial. So if all of this wakes something up in you, here's your invitation. Stay curious, bro. Don't let the curiosity, though, turn into paralysis. Let your awareness of these structures make you more committed to transparency, consent, and the protection of the vulnerable in your own life. Understand that real spiritual maturity is not about how many secret connections you can map out. It's about how fiercely you protect those who have no circle at all. The Bohemian Grove can burn a fake effigy called care. Secret societies can swear oaths in candlelit rooms. Epstein can host the most powerful on private islands and in private jets. But Team Human does something harder. We refuse to burn our care. We refuse to trade children's safety, survivors' healing, or the truth itself for the proximity to the powerful. We refuse to pretend that we don't know once we've actually seen how these patterns work. So if you're still here, if your heart is heavy, and or if it's still beating strong, please drop Team Human in the comments. Not because we're perfect, but because in a world where secret networks have already shown us what they're willing to do, we're choosing to be the network that says no more. I love you. Shit, motherfucker! Damn! Homie was cooking. Homie was cooking biscuits for your ass, boy. Shee! Tough. Dang. All my boys aren't upstairs. Okay, now we can put the chat. Because I wanted to record that so I can clip it later and, you know, make my little video and shit. But now I can put the chat up here. You see the chat be going wild, boy. If you're on Facebook, you be seeing this chat. Y'all be just, what's up, dude? What's up? What's up, YouTube? What's good? Shit. Whoa, double up, double up, double up. Double up, double up, double up. Alrighty. Cheerio, mate. Top of the morning to you, partner. You guys ready to get into some more Epstein? Who's here for it? Dang, dude, we got a squad, bro. We got the squad up in here. Cobra Kai, love you, player. Thank you for showing up for much as you did. Thank you, bro. Thank you, bro. Thank you, bro. Let's go. What's up, dude? Faith, what's up? If you're here, say what's up. Just trying to get a little head count. Hell yeah. What's up? Hell yeah. We want that 1080 pizzle on that shit, bud. Hell yeah. All right. So like I said, we are gonna end up in web, but we are gonna start up over here on X for a little while. We got some clips, some stuff that's been said going down. Want to just talk about it, chat about it. Don't know really where we're gonna end up. You know what I mean? Don't really know where we're gonna end up. Cause I can't sleep through the night. Okay, for some reason Facebook's having a little bit of issues, bud. All right, well, sorry, Facebook. Hopefully you can see what I'm seeing. Hopefully you can see what we're seeing. My shit's kind of jamming up. Is it glitchy for you all? I don't know. Is it glitchy for you all? Who is up in here? Who is up in here? All right. Let's start first. It says breaking news. Congress just learned something pretty stunning about the Epstein operation. According to Representative Melanie Stansbury, Epstein's longtime executive assistant admitted her legal fees and are being paid by a fund established through Epstein's estate. Jeffrey Epstein died in 2019, yet his money is still paying the attorneys of a key witness connected to this network. Then came another admission. She acknowledged helping arrange calls between Epstein and Trump, Prince Andrew, and other powerful figures. Even now, Epstein money appears to be shaping who can afford legal representation and who can't. Let's just hear what they got to say.
Right now, House lawmakers are taking a break from their interview with Jeffrey Epstein's longtime executive assistant, Leslie Groff. Victims allege that she arranged many of the massages where Epstein assaulted women and young girls, and she appears in the files more than 150,000 times. She has never been charged with it.
If you're here, you better stick around because we're going to dive deep into old Leslie Groff today.
Crime. Joining me now.
I've been talking about Leslie Groff the whole time I've been streaming because she is a proclaimed ex-Mormon. There's lots of stuff in the files about her, like, kind of like, what's up, dude? But instead of dude, she would say Mormon. She would, like, call people Mormon. Like, what's up? How's it going, Mormon? Weird, just weird stuff. We're going to dive into her.
Now is member of the Oversight Committee who has been in the room with Groff, Democratic Representative from New Mexico, Melanie Stansbury. Congresswoman, thanks so much for being with us. What's your biggest takeaway so far from what you've heard from Groff?
You know, everything about this case is strange. I think the most important takeaway that I got today of this interview is that when we were probing her about whether or not she received additional payments outside of her normal salary working for Jeffrey Epstein, she said that her legal fees were paid out of a fund that Jeffrey Epstein set up through his estate after he died. And so even in death, Jeffrey Epstein is still paying the legal fees of people who are witnesses in this case against him. So I think that was one of the more peculiar things that we learned today. Certainly, she worked for Mr. Epstein for 18 years. She was his primary scheduler who worked out of one of his main offices, and she spoke to, you know, almost daily massages that Jeffrey Epstein received. She claims that she did not find that strange, even though she was scheduling them sometimes multiple times a day, as well as acknowledged that she scheduled massages for other men, though when pressed, she would not provide names. So, you know, I think we've filled in some pieces about this case and the operation of the Epstein world, but I think that she has been very careful in how she has presented her story.
Very careful, right? We just talked about secrecy.
Your colleague Stephen Lynch just told a reporter that Groff arranged phone calls with notable figures, including President Trump. What more can you tell us about that?
You know, a number of different members of Congress and attorneys have asked her questions about her scheduling of Mr. Epstein with different notable figures. She did say that she scheduled meetings with Trump and connected their calls, but she also noted that she did the same for Prince Andrew. She scheduled other notable figures, including some of the individuals we've interviewed here in the Oversight Committee. I think this is known material. A lot of it is in the files, but it certainly verifies that we know that Trump had an ongoing relationship with Mr. Epstein and was talking to him, and that his personal assistant helped to facilitate those conversations.
A source told MS Now Groff told the committee that she never saw anything improper, but prosecutors say that she was responsible for Epstein's schedule, as you have just mentioned, his meetings and a lot of his travel, scheduling some of those massages. Based off of what you've heard so far, are you convinced that she did not know what was going on?
You know, she certainly has not admitted to anything in the room, and she has provided her point of view and said that she did not see anything improper. But I think all of us are taking this with a huge grain of salt. That somebody who worked for Jeffrey Epstein for 18 years, who scheduled daily massages with young women and arranged for cash transfers. She said in the room that she had arranged housing for girls that were brought to the U.S. by Jean-Luc Brunel through his modeling agency, which we know was trafficking girls from Europe. We know that she admits that, you know, she was intimately involved in arranging appointments. It's very hard to imagine how she did not understand what was going on inside his world, especially after she continued to work for him after his first prosecution. So, you know, the transcript will be made live, hopefully in the next week or so, and people can judge for themselves. But I think the fact, and the reason why I'm emphasizing that even in death, Jeffrey Epstein was paying for her attorney's fees should raise some very serious questions.
Before I let you go,
It does raise some very serious questions. What's up, bro? I'm on YouTube too, bro. We're talking about old Jeffrey Epstein, bro. Because Leslie Groff, Jeffrey Epstein's like lieutenant, was just testifying against the Oversight Committee. What's good, Instagram? I got Instagram right here, guys, just so you know. I'm on Facebook. I'm live on YouTube. I'm also live on Twitch. Tripoverdrip on all platforms. Unfortunately, the platform I use doesn't allow me to really connect Instagram up into all of the broadcasting thing or whatever. So Tripoverdrip on YouTube.
we only have a little time left, but Groff was named as a potential co-conspirator of Epstein's in several internal DOJ documents, but she's never been charged with a crime, as we noted. What's your understanding of why she was never prosecuted?
So I asked her specifically about DOJ's investigation, and she and her attorney said that they were interviewed in preparation for Maxwell's trial in 2021. She said that she was brought in for several hours.
What's up? What's up? I'm on YouTube. Tripoverdrip on YouTube. Tripoverdrip on YouTube. All one word. Tripoverdrip.
She was questioned and she was not charged with anything. When we asked if she was given a plea deal or any kind of arrangement by DOJ, she said no. But we have not seen many of the files because the Trump administration is not released the files. And so we don't know exactly what DOJ did in this case after the Maxwell trial. So there's still a lot of unanswered questions.
There is still a lot of unanswered questions, and we're going to try to do our best to answer those questions more today. Okay, let's see here. Saying that, oh my gosh, Facebook went down, bro. Facebook went down, bro. Dude, Tripoverdrip on YouTube. It says that I'm still live, bro. It says I'm still live. Let me see here. Does it still say I'm live? It does still say that I'm live. Weird. Palm Beach Pete is Epstein. I think Palm Beach Pete is just a homunculus. That's what I think. I think that it's homunculi. He's homunculi. Alright. I don't know why I did that, but alright. Weird. Saying I'm not doing some weird stuff, bro. What's up? We're just gonna go ahead and go like this. Cut that right like this and cut Facebook, because Facebook just messed up, dude. An output error. Unable to open output destination. Weird. I had something go wrong, bruh. Something's messed up, dude. Oh, dang, there it goes. It should be connecting up. Who's here? What's up, guys? What's up, guys? It's pretty echoey today. I have this mic on because we were just watching a video. Thank you for telling me, though. Dang, Facebook just freaking crashed out, bro. They didn't like this Epstein stuff. Facebook doesn't like this Epstein stuff, dude. Fuck them, dude. Meta doesn't like it either. Even though Meta has like some crazy shit, really. Like, if I'm being 100% honest with you, bro, Meta's like, Instagram is like one of the place where I go and I'm able to see like majority of the anti-Semitic stuff. They want to say crazy shit, but in all actuality, Meta be out there fucking allowing a lot of it. Oh, let's listen to this fucking piece of shit. Sorry guys, but let's just hear this douchebag talk.
Sure, the right people come into our country. I will.
Are you concerned, Mr. President, about the latest inflation number which came out this morning? Could that be a
No, I love it. The numbers were great. You know what I really love? I love the inflation. You know why?
Fuck you. Let's listen to him say that again.
Sure, the right people come into our country. I will.
Are you concerned, Mr. President, about the latest inflation number which came out this morning? Could that be a
No, I love it. The numbers were great. You know what I really love? I love the inflation. You know why? Because as soon as this war is over, you know, I can say it now. Something you didn't know. Do you know we've been taking out millions of barrels of oil? Nobody knows it. You know who doesn't know about it? Iran, until right now. We took out the other night 22 ships late at night with no lights, because they don't have any radar, because we blasted the crap out of it. We took out, that's why oil's $85 a barrel. I mean, you take a look. Remember when I did this, I said, look, the one bad thing will be, we hit the best economy we've ever hit.
I got another clip for that. We're going to stop right there. Where is it at? Oh, yeah.
We took out, that's why oil's $85 a barrel. I mean, you take a look. Remember when I did this, I said, look, the one bad thing will be, we hit the best economy we've ever hit. And I said to my people, I had Scott, I had Howard, I had Pete, I had all of them. I had Todd in the room. I said, the one thing we have to do now, we had just hit the highest stock market in history, highest 401ks in history. Everything was going well, and I said, I hate to do this to you guys, but Iran's gonna have a nuclear weapon very soon. We have to go and attack.
Our country is doing the best that it's ever done. It's time for us to start a war. What the fuck? Like, is anyone getting to the point where he just like sounds stupid? Like, does he not, he actually just like doesn't know what or give a fuck what anyone in his country, the country he runs, cares about?
Jeffrey Epstein's longtime associate has testified in front of Congress that she set up several calls between Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump. The assistant's name is Leslie Groff. Now, House Oversight Democrats say that she was not truthful fully in her testimony because she claimed she didn't know much. But what she did say was that she set up several phone calls with the President of the United States before he was president and Jeffrey Epstein. I believe she referred to a time before Trump was president that she did arrange for multiple phone calls between the two. That's what Congressman Stephen Lynch said. Now, behind closed doors, Groff tried to distance herself from Epstein, which, based on what we know in the files and publicly in public reporting, that's not simply the case. And as one congressman put it, it was not remotely plausible that Groff would have been oblivious to what Epstein was doing. So we'll have more information soon. Bill Gates is testifying today. We'll see what he says. Spread the word. Follow along, stay updated on all the news you need to know about.
Oh, man. All the news that we just need to know about, right?
18 years, she, was Leslie managed every aspect of Jeffrey Epstein's life for about 18 years. She, was really at the forefront of scheduling all of his appointments. This is somebody who was mentioned in the Epstein files that have been released so far more than pretty much anybody else. And she was actually the one setting up appointments with all of these girls to provide massages to Jeffrey Epstein. I think this is the first time she's ever speaking to a congressional committee like this. She will be in a transcribed interview. I want to know everything that she has to share. We know that, unfortunately, up until this point, other than Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, nobody has been investigated or prosecuted who is, other people who've enacted crimes, perpetrated crimes, or enabled the crimes. And so I really hope that she comes forward with as much information as possible. She has long stated that she was unaware of the abuse that took place.
You were unaware, huh?
I'll be honest with you, I'm extremely skeptical of that. It's very hard to believe that somebody who was so intimately involved in his life for 18 years had no knowledge, especially when she was setting up the appointments with the girls. Nevertheless, this is her opportunity to be forthcoming, to be honest, and to help us get closer to real justice for the over 1,000 victims who we know existed.
Amen. Amen.
Crime, they're going to fry for it. It starts to make sure we tell those predators there is no place for them to hide, and if they commit the crime, they're going to fry for it. It starts with showing us the names of the perpetrators in the Epstein files.
May I respond to that?
Sure.
Okay. So, if any man's name was redacted that should not have been, we will, of course,
To make sure we tell those predators there is no place.
Of course she lied. They haven't. We know a lot of their names, and their names still haven't been redacted. It's
Lawmakers
pretty
also
obvious
asked today if she arranged any contact between Epstein and Trump.
Did she talk about scheduling meetings to allow Mr. Epstein and President Trump?
Basically, arranging phone calls, I believe, was the most of it. Just contact between, just arranging phone calls between President Trump and Ms. Epstein, yes.
Did she give the timeline on when they were talking?
I believe she referred to a time before Mr. Trump was president.
Oh, so he's only been a pedophile since before he was president. He's not still a part of the pedophile ring. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Yeah, I have been. I have noticed those crazy captions, my live. Okay, let's go over here. There's more than just Leslie Groff, bro. This is Leslie. Let me move this for you. There's more than just Leslie Groff, bro. Ghislaine Maxwell. There's Nadia. There's Cecilia. There's Sarah Kellen. They were all Mr. Epstein's lieutenants. They were all connected, bro. So let's just go ahead. Let's just go ahead and ask Old Web. Okay, 150,000 times, huh? Give me the most complete outline of who, what, why, when, and how about Leslie Groff. Y'all ready for this? I'm gonna come over here and just let Facebook see a little bit more of that, because I got Facebook back up and going. If you're on Facebook, say what's up, Facebook. Nobody said nothing in the chat. Nothing in the chat so far. Just say what's up. If you're on Facebook, say what's up. If you're on YouTube, say what's up. If you're on fucking Twitch, say what's up, dude. But before we get into that, I do have to use the bathroom, grab some more coffee. But we're gonna deep dive into Leslie Groff. I hope that you're still here.
So we did want to get to this extraordinarily disturbing story emerging.
I'll be right back.
Out of Israeli occupied territories. If you may recall that recently a 7-month-old baby was killed by IDF soldiers. And actually, let's start with, so that people have the IDF's context. Let's start with their statement. That would be A8, because then we now have video of what actually happened. So here's what the IDF had said on June 5th. Earlier today, during operational activity in the area of Hebron, IDF soldiers perceived a vehicle accelerating toward them. Got that? An IDF soldier responded with single shots. We're inventing new phrases here. Single shots. Toward the vehicle. As a result, 3 Palestinians were injured and evacuated for medical treatment. Strongly suggests that the Israeli soldiers had something to do with this evacuation, by the way. An initial inquiry is an interesting word, found that those injured were uninvolved civilians. The incident is under review, and the findings will be submitted for review by the relevant authorities. The last line is how you know when you're reading these statements that something very dark happened. The IDF expresses deep sorrow for any harm caused to uninvolved individuals. Immediately, the reports were that they had shot and killed a 7-month-old baby. B'Tselem, the Israeli human rights organization, has since obtained 2 videos of this attack. And so let's take a look at the footage that B'Tselem has obtained. And so so there you see the car that was, quote unquote, perceived to be accelerating toward them. It's nowhere near them. when you see the soldier open fire on it. And there you can see the father holding his murdered son in the street, and then in the hospital, and here's Sam. This is young Sammy before he was killed. The IDF has since told Israeli media that these were young Israeli soldiers. Another thing, as if that somehow exonerates what's going on. Another thing you notice in that video is the complete lack of assistance. What you immediately notice, of course, is a soldier opening fire into a car with a family, a mom, a dad, and a baby, and killing the baby, which has to reflect an extraordinary amount of dehumanization going on between the people on either side of that wall. The fact that there was no attempt to help them immediately, like did you see any Israeli paramedics, Israeli soldiers anywhere near the baby as his life bled out of him? No, you did not. They just kind of kept it moving. There have been no arrests made here. For up to me, everyone in the chain of command would be under arrest and held without bond, top to bottom, involved with this. This is 5 days ago. They knew this happened. I made the point also that American police forces, I don't know that they killed a 7-month-old baby forever. But when American police officers or ICE officials or CBP, if they kill an American citizen, there are enormous protests in the streets.
It's sad, isn't it? It's so fucking sad. There's no other way to really explain it. It's so fucking sad, bro. It just seems as if that not a lot of people care. All right. Ready to get into this? The complete outline of Leslie Groff. Who she was, her identity and background. Leslie Groff was Jeffrey Epstein's long-serving personal assistant. Her name appears across the documents in two spellings: Leslie Groff predominantly in the emails, and Leslie Groff in some legal filings. Just her first name is spelt with a Y and then an IE. She signed virtually all her professional correspondence as Leslie, assistant to Jeffrey Epstein. Facebook, you can't really see it that much. Let me see here. Zoom back out for you. Running through the night. Can't see it? Nope. You're going to have to go to YouTube. Tripoverdrip on YouTube. That's pretty crazy, Scruffmeister. That's crazy. Coordinated. That's insane, bro. Okay, so she had at least two family members tied to the Epstein orbit. Ike Groff was a family member, likely her husband or relative, who was forwarded a Daily Mail article about Leslie's infamous 2007 FBI encounter, to which Leslie simply replied, "Yuck." The prosecutor described in August 2007, two FBI agents went to the home of Epstein's personal assistant, Leslie Groff, to serve her with a federal grand jury subpoena in relation to the Epstein investigation. Miss Groff disappeared upstairs and then rang Epstein to inform him that the FBI were at her house. The prosecutor said Mr. Epstein instructed Miss Groff not to speak with the agents and reprimanded her for allowing them in her home. Mr. Epstein applied pressure to keep Miss Groff from complying with the grand jury subpoena that the agents had served upon her. The document continues. The conversation occurred when Mr. Epstein was aboard his privately owned civilian aircraft in Miami. His pilot had a file had filed a flight plan showing these parties and were about to return to Teterboro, New Jersey. After the conversation with Miss Groff, Mr. Epstein became concerned that the FBI would try to serve his traveling companion. With target letter that when they landed in Teterboro, Mr. Epstein then redirected his plane, making the pilot fly a new flight plan to the U.S. Virgin Islands. Weird. Daniel Groff, present at her home when the FBI showed up. Leslie Groff, date of birth blank, resident address blank, was interviewed at her residence after being advised of the identity of the interviewing agent and the nature of the interview. Leslie Groff provided the following information. Groff informed agents that she did not wish to speak with the agents, and she was represented by counsel Mark Furnish. Blank agents immediately terminated the interview, served Groff with the federal grand jury subpoena. Daniel Groff, date of birth, was present and witnessed the federal subpoena. She had at least one child. The 2007 plea proffer documents described her excusing herself from FBI agents to check on her sleeping child upstairs, which was actually a pretext to call Jeffrey Epstein. Crazy. Basically everything we just went over. Her role and responsibilities. Groff was the gatekeeper and operational hub of Epstein's daily life. Let me say that one more time. Groff was the gatekeeper and operational hub of Epstein's life every day. The documents reveal a staggering range of duties. Personal concierge and schedule. She coordinated meetings with powerful figures like Kathy Rumler, which was the White House counsel under Obama about Bill Gates, Josh Harris, a part of Apollo Management, Mark Rowan, who was also a part of Apollo, Woody Allen's assistant. We all know Woody Allen's a pedophile. Jeffrey West, who was part of the Santa Fe Institution. She also booked theater tickets, mentioning the card on file was Epstein's. Hello, telecharge authorization. I purchased lots of tickets for my boss as gifts, and for some reason our account with you has been blocked. Something to do with my email address or too many passwords, perhaps? Yes, I have forgotten a timer 5. I tried to purchase tickets on your site, and it appears fine, and then in the end I receive a message stating that there's something wrong with my account. My name is Leslie Groff, and I'm the personal assistant to Jeffrey Epstein. The card on file with you? The card on file with you. I see. Damn, dude. She also arranged appointments at the hospital for special surgery premier wellness programs. Oh, so she like set up doctor's appointments for him. She organized birthday gifts. She coordinated a booklet of interesting stories from Epstein's friends for his January 20th birthday. Hello, Lawrence, Karina, and I are asking for a few of Jeffrey's personal friends if they could help us out this year with a special gift for Jeffrey's birthday. We're hoping you could write a short one-page essay on sharing a meal in Jeffrey's dining room with Jeffrey and his wacky friends. We are hoping you may have some fabulous, weird, or enlightening story you could share. We will then create a booklet of all of these interesting stories from all of the interesting friends to present to him. Oh, you're talking about the one where, like, Donald Trump, like, drew the outline of a woman. A lot of people speculate it looks like a child. Just one second. Scientific and academic coordination. She facilitated Epstein's interest in genetics. She coordinated with Dr. Joseph Tharukia at Harvard about Epstein's genome sequencing in fibroblast cultures for iPS stem cell creation. Hey Joe, I hope you're well. I just left you a voicemail but wanted to follow up with an email. Jeffrey is wondering if there has been any progress you can report on regarding his genome. Might you be able to provide any details? Hi Leslie. Jeffrey's skin biopsy resulted in several successful viable fibroblast cultures. These cell lines are now stored in liquid nitrogen and slated for iPS cell line creation. Essentially, this process requires several cultural passages and reiteration of picking out the right colony for further passages. Success rate of generating iPS cells is relatively high now, but the process takes several months. Okay, so I have a doctor that's in the stem cell field. I'm wondering what is fibroblast cultures, as well as like if my cells are now being stored in liquid nitrogen and slated for iPS cell line creation. What does that mean?
Sure, let me break it down quickly. Fibroblast cultures are lab dishes where scientists grow fibroblast cells. These are connective tissue cells from your skin or other tissues. They use these cells as a starting point for experiments or to reprogram them. Now, if those fibroblasts are stored in liquid nitrogen, that's called cryopreservation. It keeps them alive and stable over the long term. If they're slated for induced pluripotent stem cell, or iPS line creation, it means scientists plan to reprogram your fibroblasts back into stem cells. Those iPS cells can then potentially differentiate into many different cell types. So in plain language, your cells are being kept in deep freeze for possible use in future stem cell research or therapies. Does that help clarify things?
Yeah, and what kind of therapies would you assume that I'm interested in if I'm having this procedure done?
From what I just found, induced pluripotent stem cells, those reprogrammed from fibroblasts, are being used in several areas. They help researchers model human development and diseases, screen possible drugs, and they're at the heart of regenerative medicine. That means potential therapies could include repairing damaged tissues, restoring vision, or even working toward cures for conditions like type 1 diabetes. So, if you're having your cells reprogrammed this way, you might be interested in future personalized regenerative therapies, tailored drug testing, or disease modeling. It's exciting stuff, but it's worth discussing with you.
Interesting. She also arranged meetings with Harvard Medical School professors. Quifa Ma, a professor of neurobiology at Harvard Medical School. Jeffrey will be available to meet with you with your two professors on October 13th. Weird. She was also his media and reputation manager. She screened interview requests, coordinated an interview with Dylan Love and Business Insider TNW through Masha Drokova. One second. My mother is here to take my children swimming. I'm going to just go get them that all situated. I'm going to finish this video.
2020 saw riots across the country.
Trump gets shot, he leaves, he goes to New Jersey with the local doctor. What happens to Crooks's body?
That's a great question. Crooks's body was actually left on the rooftop until 6 a.m. the next morning. And instead of taking him to the Butler County coroner, he shipped to Allegheny County. I guess we've gotten conflicting explanations. I guess Allegheny County is where Pittsburgh is. They have more advanced facilities. But then I also heard they took Corey Comparatore's body to Allegheny County because the press was at the Butler County coroner's office. And they wanted to avoid the press attention.
Crooks was shot once, correct?
I think the local cop hit him.
First?
Yeah, I definitely think the local cop hit him because you keep in mind, Crooks stopped shooting after the local cop fired. There's some speculation that Aaron Zalaponi might have hit the buttstock of the gun and shattered it. But the thing is that the x-ray of Crook shows that there's bullet fragments still in his shoulder. And ballistics experts have told me that 300 Win Mag final shot wouldn't have fragmented like that. The Secret Service's 300 Win Mag round went through Crooks's neck, out, back in the shoulder, then it fragments into two pieces and makes two re-exit wounds. They actually recovered those fragments. It's this material in the shoulder that was left in there. Actually, the body was released for cremation with the fragments still in the shoulder, which seems like a mishandling of evidence, but what do I know?
How quickly after this event was his body cremated?
I believe it was released for cremation a week or two after. And we didn't find out about this until Representative Clay Higgins went to go look at the body, and they said, well, you know, Mr. Higgins, the body doesn't exist. They gave it to the funeral home.
How would you assess the thoroughness of the autopsy?
Well, the medical exam...
Yeah, Groff was in front of the Oversight Committee, I think, today. I'm pretty sure Groff was in front of the Oversight Committee today. Dang, 0 on YouTube, 12 and 4 on Facebook. What's up, Facebook? Facebook, what's up, dude? Thank you, guys. If you're here, just say hi, bro. Just say hi, bro. We got nobody up on YouTube. Let me just quickly just take the YouTube. Whoa, damn, we got some more subs, bro. I'm only 45 subs away. 45 subs away. If you're on freaking Facebook, you could just come help me out and come over to Tripoverdrip. Come say hi on the stream. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, there's not 0 people in there. It says that there's 0 in there. Why would it lie to me? They lied to me. It lied to me. All right. Leslie Groff also forwarded press materials to journalists. She told them what to say, what to talk about. Information. Faith is still over on YouTube. What's up? Thank you, Faith. She relayed a panic message from a woman being hounded by reporters about being named in the testimony flight logs. This is from Leslie Groff to Jeffrey Epstein. Blank says the reporters are hounding her. One got past her doorman again. She's being told by the reporters that she was indeed on the island when Blank was there. If states in Blank testimony and perhaps the flight log, she wasn't sure on that. But Blank is asking if she could get Blank's testimony where she is mentioned. Blank feels blindsided by these questions. It was so long ago, she doesn't even remember every detail. Blank is also asking if she could speak with your PR person because she needs help on how to answer these questions. She says she needs your help, and if asking our PR person could call her, or if you could get... Oh my gosh, she's tripping out, dude. She's like, oh my gosh, what do we say, dude? They're asking if you eat kids. Do you eat kids? Are you eating kids? Have you been eating kids? What do we say, bro? They know we ate kids. She interviewed and screened candidates for other assistant positions to Epstein. Good morning, Sarah. Jeffrey received your name and CV from Eva Dubin regarding an assistant position. Might you be available to come by and meet Jeffrey today? Hi, Blank. Would like to help coordinate your friend who is interested in assistant position. Would you like to send me her email address so I can coordinate directly? Jeffrey will be in New York this Thursday and Friday, hoping you would have time one of these days. She also coordinated visits to Epstein's private island, organizing someone to meet with you on Jeffrey's island. This is from Russell Hernandez. Hello, Russell and Tia. Thank you for your call, Russell. I will relay all to Jeffrey, and we will get started on organizing personnel to meet with you on Jeffrey's Island on Tuesday, January 16th. She also arranged pickups by Epstein's driver. She drew a sharp line when publicist Peggy Segal tried to give her tasks. I'm not doing anything unless you request it upon me. I work for you, not Peggy. She was talking to Jeffrey. I work for you, Jeff, not Peggy. Why she matters to this case. All right? If you're here, you could just drop Team Human in the comments. All right. Leslie Groff was not just an assistant. She was a witness to and participant in obstruction of justice. The government's own plea proffer documents single her out as essential to Epstein's witnessing tampering. In 2005 to 2008, Groff already working as Epstein's assistant when the Palm Beach investigation begins. Oh yeah, you know the Palm Beach investigation where like Jeffrey had been like caught multiple times and had phone calls to the police saying that he was like, there were like minors on his property. He was also like donating money to help the police, the Palm Beach Police Department, get like a fingerprint scanner and to like upgrade their little office. He was like directly in connection with the Palm Beach Police Department. August 21, 2007, FBI agents Nesbitt, Kierkenkendall, and Jason Richards arrive at Groff's home to serve a grand jury subpoena. She goes upstairs, calls Epstein. He reprimands her, orders her not to cooperate, warns against turning over documents, pressures her to delay the grand jury appearance, and Epstein redirects his plane from Teterboro to the U.S. Virgin Islands to avoid the FBI serving targeted letters to his traveling companions. Leslie Groff called him and said, hey, they're at my house, and he literally changed his flight direction to go to the island. September 18th, 2007, AUSA emails proposed plea agreement to Jeffrey Epstein's attorney, Jay Lefkowitz, detailing Groff's subpoena incident as evidence of witness tampering. In approximately 2005, the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office in Southern District of Florida learned of Epstein's repeated sexual abuse of minor girls. They began a criminal investigation into federal offenses related to his crimes. At all relevant times, Edwards has had a good faith basis to believe and did in fact believe that to avoid government learning about his abuse of minor girls, Epstein threatened his employees and demanded that they not cooperate with the government. Epstein's aggressive witness tampering was so severe that the U.S. State Attorney's Office prepared negotiated plea agreements containing the charges of witness tampering. In 2007 and 2008, Groff ultimately did not testify. The witness tampering was folded into a non-prosecution agreement, the sweetheart deal. Groff continues working as Epstein's assistant from 2010 to 2018. Thousands of emails across this period showing uninterrupted services. Just email after email, bro. Ike Groff forwards Daily Mail article about 2007 subpoena incident to Leslie. May 16, 2019, Groff emails about Epstein just weeks before his arrest. Of course it's redacted or blanked out. July 6th, 2019, FBI agents return to Groff's home. She declines to speak, invokes counsel Mark Furnish, and is served another federal grand jury subpoena. Sometimes he's got to put them boys in place to be coming down here playing games. I'm streaming, bro. Go upstairs, bro. July 9th, she refused the grand jury testimony. July in 2019 as well. Epstein was arrested on July 6th. The 2007 incident is documented across at least 8 separate documents in this collection. Plea proffers, email chains between prosecutors and the defense, civil lawsuit exhibits, and news articles forward internally. The setup: 2 FBI agents arrive at Groff's home to serve her with a federal grand jury subpoena regarding the Southern District of Florida investigation into Jeffrey Epstein. Groff begins speaking with the agents and then excuses herself to check on her child. Instead, she calls Epstein, who was aboard his private plane in Miami. Epstein instructs her not to speak with the agents, yells at her, and then pressures her not to turn over any documents or electric evidence. Epstein's pilot had filed a flight plan to Teterboro, New Jersey. After Groff's call, Epstein redirects his plane to the U.S. Virgin Islands specifically to prevent FBI agents from serving target letters on 2 female companions he had on board. During the flight, still within the U.S. Special Aircraft Jurisdiction, Epstein verbally harassed and threatened the female companion of the investigation. Federal prosecutors drafted this as a 1512 offense. 1512 offense, witness tampering, and included it in a proposition plea agreement. It was one of the 60 criminal counts that were eventually bargained away in the infamous 2012 sweetheart deal. I can't sleep through the night. Crazy. Crazy. Who's up in here, bro? Who is it that is here still? Cheers, mate. Top of the morning to you, partner. We're about an hour.
Volcano. This is no.
We're about an hour in. About an hour in. We're gonna go back over to listen to Chuck Swindoll talk about the Khazarian Mafia. Because if we want to know what's happening now, we have to know what happened in the past. Who's here for that? You know what I'm saying? Old Chuck Swindoll, friend of the show.
And in this same way, this is what's happened. We have been blamed for falling, separating from God, whereas they were the ones who did the original manipulation. And so they, meaning the
Who knows about the Khazarian Mafia, bro?
Elohim, are projecting their...
Maybe we won't watch Chuck today. Maybe we're... What do we do here, huh? What should we do here? I've got, let's see, I've got at least 45 minutes in, bro. Let's watch this Sean Ryan right here. 1 day ago.
Are you trying to prove that everything we see is a hologram?
Do you agree everything we see is a hologram?
Are you saying that everything in space is potentially projected from a 2D surface?
No, I think what we're saying is like all these objects that you're thinking in the boat, there would be some state on the boundary theory that's equivalent to it in these types of holographic setups. I don't want to say that I understand flat space holography to the level where like I'm confident in that, but in ADS-CFT context, their dictionaries are like, yep, like this massive state is this other operator in the CFT table.
Potentially, everything we see in space could be a hologram. Or are you saying the fabric?
Basically, the whole point is that there are 2 equivalent theories. So the thing that you have in the bulk, you want to have in the boundary theory. Can you formulate a theory that lives 1 dimension lower, but isn't just so like, is there a natural sense in which you want to live 1 dimension lower? For example, maybe one kind of intuitive thing of why it might be nice is that like, I have a global symmetry, so I have something that's not related to these long distance interactions. Then typically I need to go and like measure the charges of the objects throughout the like constant time slice that I'm in.
Are you saying that a planet could be a hologram?
Yeah, but in weird lawyer sense, not like in the way,
A star.
I think if I want to say that physics like covers everything, then I probably do want to have the observer be part of the system. But I definitely have friends who are definitely not religious or anything like that and still kind of call that observer thing into question. And I just don't know because again,
Do you never can talk about this?
neither of us are good at debating. No. She definitely sees what I do as a variant of religion.
What are you visualizing here that you describe?
I am visualizing as a Venn diagram with a sphere.
I mean, your visual. I could see it. I think your visual.
I know, but that's very helpful, right? So like that's a problem. When you're a grad student, they often say like shut up and
Dang, I just got like a really, really loud ringing in my ears.
compute. And I used to take it as like a person. I can think too. But the point is you're trying to be trained out of using your physical intuition, you know, for the things that you're doing. What can you physically do in this world where we clearly are interacting with certain energy scales? How do you get out of that? And then you build this intuition by computing things, I guess. So then your intuitions are roughly a bunch of computations or a bunch of lower dimensional projections of things if you happen to have someone who can make nice figures.
Do you believe we can time travel?
Do you believe we can time travel? Those are like sweet nothings to my ear.
Like this kind of twin paradox of like your clock is affected by gravity, and so you can, you know, go around and come back and have age differently than your twin, but you're only still going forward.
What's the biggest misconception people have about black holes?
But we're all basically just playing with some frameworks, like mathematical frameworks that give us intuition for what we might guess. So celestial sphere literally is, you know, night sky. You'll see the distribution of the stars in the night sky move around a bit. So like they're going to dilate. And so that's somehow seeing that there's like the boost symmetry of the space-time is a dilatation of this sphere.
Dumbed down version of string theory.
You can think of mechanical process of how I compute some amplitude as a bunch of world lines coming in with some rules for how they interact and split off and create other particles.
What do you think? Do you think we're going to make it to Mars?
So I think he could make it to Mars, depending on his definition.
Fuck, bro. I don't know about you, bro, but I'm definitely... Let me see if I can find this clip, bro. String theory, bro. This shit is weird, homie. You guys ready to go down some weird rabbit hole right now, bro? I'm sorry we started off with Epstein. Like I said in the beginning, if you were here, been here the whole time, player, I don't know where it's going today. I just I got all my Epstein itch out for right now, you know what I'm saying? And all of a sudden I was going to go watch Chuck Lindell talk about the Khazarian Mafia, and I wasn't really feeling the energetic vibe at the minute. And then I was like, oh, Sean Ryan clip. Oh, now it's like, okay, string theory. I'm telling you, this autistic mind is a trip, bro. But you guys know what string theory is? Anyone? Just comment it.
What is the true nature of the universe? To answer this question, humans come up with stories to describe the world. We test our stories and learn what to keep and what to throw away. But the more we learn, the more complicated and weird our stories become. Some of them so much so that it's really hard to know what they're actually about. Like string theory.
This is gonna be, it's kind of corny, but sometimes complex systems need to be simplified for all the masses to understand. If you are obsessed with string theory or quantum physics like I am, because I think that quantum physics kind of metaphorically explains pretty profound concepts about spirituality to make them practical applications into our spiritual experience in this being a spiritual entity and experiencing this human experience. I think that quantum physics, there's just like so much gold inside there, even though it's still so hard to understand.
A famous, controversial, and often misunderstood story about the nature of everything. Why did we come up with it, and is it correct, or just an idea we should chuck out? To understand the true nature of reality, we looked at things up close and were amazed. Wondrous landscapes in the dust, zoos of bizarre creatures, complex protein robots, all of them made from structures of molecules made up of countless even smaller things, atoms. We thought they were the final layer of reality until we smashed them together really hard and discovered things that can't be divided anymore, elementary particles. But now we had a problem. They're so small that we could no longer look at them. Think about it. What is seeing? To see something, we need light, an electromagnetic wave. This wave hits the surface of the thing and gets reflected back from it into your eye. The wave carries information from the object that your brain uses to create an image. So you can't see something without somehow interacting with it. Seeing is touching, an active process, not a passive one. This is not a problem with most things.
Dang, how crazy is that? Seeing is touching. What we've went over on this channel about like the observation effects in the double slit experiment in quantum physics, that your observation literally affects the reality around you, and your attention, where your attention goes, energy flows. It's kind of cool to just hear him say that seeing is touching, because in order for you to see something, you have to be interacting with it, at least in the spectrum of frequency, energy, and light.
But particles are very, very, very small. So small that the electromagnetic waves we use to see are too big to touch them. Visible light just passes over them. We can try to solve this by creating electromagnetic waves with more and much smaller wavelengths. But in quantum physics, shorter wavelengths means more energy. So when we touch a particle with a wave that has a lot of energy, it gets a kick. By looking at a particle, we change it. In quantum physics, we cannot know where a particle is and where it's going with absolute precision. This fact is so important that it has a name: the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, the basis of all quantum physics. So what does a particle look like then? What is its nature? We don't know. If we look really hard, we can see a blurry sphere of influence, but not the particles themselves. We just know they exist. But if that's the case, how can we do any science with them? We did what humans do and invented a new story, a mathematical fiction. The story of the point particle. We decided that we would pretend that a particle is a point in space. Any electron is a point with a certain electric charge and a certain mass, all indistinguishable from each other. This way, physicists could define them and calculate all of their interactions. This can be made precise in quantum field theory, and this solved a lot of problems. All of the standard model of particle physics is built on it, and it predicts lots of things very well. Some quantum properties of the electron, for example, have been tested and are accurate up to 0.0000000000002%. So while particles are not really points, by treating them as if they were, we get a pretty good picture of the universe. Not only did this idea advance science, it also led to a lot of real-world technology we use every day. But there's a huge problem: gravity. In quantum mechanics, all physical forces are carried by certain particles. But according to Einstein's general relativity, gravity is not a force like the others in the universe. If the universe is a play, particles are the actors, but gravity is the stage. To put it simply, gravity is a theory of geometry.
Gravity is still a theory. How crazy is that to really think about, bro? Gravity is still a theory.
The geometry of space-time itself, of distances which we need to describe with absolute precision. But since there is no way to precisely measure things in the quantum world, our story of gravity doesn't work with our story of quantum physics. When physicists tried to add gravity to the story by inventing a new particle, their mathematics broke down. And this is a big problem. If we could marry gravity to quantum physics and the standard model, we would have the theory of everything. So very smart people came up with a new story. They asked, what is more complex than a point? A line or a string? String theory was born. What makes string theory so elegant is that it describes many different elementary particles as different modes of vibration of the string. Just like a violin string vibrating differently can give you a lot of different notes, a string can give you different particles. Most importantly, this includes gravity. string theory promised to unify all fundamental forces of the universe. This caused enormous excitement and hype. String theory quickly graduated to a possible theory of everything. Unfortunately, string theory comes with a lot of strings attached. Much of the maths involving a consistent string theory does not work in our universe with its 3 spatial and 1 temporal dimensions. String theory requires 10 dimensions to work out. So string theorists did calculations in model universes, and then tried to get rid of the 6 additional dimensions and describe our own universe. But so far, nobody has succeeded, and no prediction of string theory has been proven in an experiment. So string theory did not reveal the nature of our universe. One could argue that in this case, string theory really isn't useful at all. Science is all about experiments and predictions. If we can't do those, why should we bother with strings? It really is all about how we use it. Physics is based on maths. 2 plus 2 makes 4. This is true no matter how you feel about it. And the maths in string theory does work out. That's why string theory is still useful. Imagine that you want to build a cruise ship, but you only have blueprints for a small rowing boat. There are plenty of differences: the engine, the materials, the scale. But both things are fundamentally the same, things that float. So by studying the rowing boat blueprints, you might still learn something about how to build a cruise ship eventually. With string theory, we can try to answer some questions about quantum gravity that have been puzzling physicists for decades, such as how black holes work or the information paradox. String theory may point us in the right direction. When used in this spirit, string theory becomes a precious tool for theoretical physicists and help them discover new aspects of the quantum world.
Are we all connected by strings, dude?
Welcome back to Science Click. Atoms matter, which, when we look closer, is made up of parts.
I just can't even do his voice, bro. I can't even do his voice, bro. All right, we're watching it.
Change. Every caterpillar goes through a moment of complete dissolution. It doesn't become a butterfly. It first becomes nothing. A liquid, a formless thing inside a shell. And then it finds itself. Change. Something new, but entirely itself. What you don't know is destroying you from the inside out. Knowledge is our only defense against mind control. It's time to wake up.
Knowledge is our only defense against mind control. Can I get some third eyes in the chat? Knowledge is the only defense against mind control.
What if I told you MK Ultra never ended?
Did MK Ultra end? That is the real question for you to decide. Because ultimately, what I have come to the conclusion is that it never ended, but you have to come to that conclusion yourself. Maybe this video will help.
The secret CIA project that ran on American soil from 1953 to 1973. We're all told that it ended in 1973.
The use of LSD. Pursuant to your request, Dr. Willis Gibbons, Chief TSS, was contacted on the evening of November 3, 1953, concerning points hereinafter noted. Dr. Gibbons has impounded all LSD material in CIA 11 CAD quarters in a safe adjacent to his desk. No one else has the combination to the safe. The material was so impounded on November 1953. Gibbons stated that he was stopping any LSD tests which have been instituted or completed under CIA bias. I can't read that.
The church committee supposedly exposed everything in 1975. But here's the thing. What if that was a cover-up? A cover-up for a much larger and much darker operation. The kind that the American people could never be allowed to know about. From the surviving pages we know, The government was doing personality erasure experiments at McGill University. A Canadian government settlement proves that it happened. A 1953 letter to Sidney Gottlieb proposing experiments on what it called presumably unwilling subjects, including, and I'm quoting, implanting false memories. The CIA called that proposal extremely fruitful, and CIA officers attending satanic rituals and combining a hallucinogen called BZU with voodoo ceremonies to produce weeks of amnesia.
Oh, didn't we see this guy yesterday? Old Mike Aquino?
Presumably unwilling subjects, including, and I'm quoting, implanting false memories. The CIA called that proposal extremely fruitful, and CIA officers attending satanic rituals and combining a hallucinogen called...
Oh yeah, the title is a high priest of the Church of the Temple of Set, a military officer and a Satanist.
BZU with voodoo ceremonies to produce weeks of amnesia. That was documented in a 1977 Department of Defense report. That's confirmed history. You can read all of it. But if you've watched parts 1 through 4, you know why I'm bringing this up. There are parallels to MKUltra that are showing up in what Epstein was actively researching and funding. That's the natural next step in this investigation. But this isn't a traditional MKUltra video. That's already been done 100 times. I'm not trying to repeat it. But let's just remember the context here. So, if in 1962, you walked up to an American on the street and said, "Hey, did you know the CIA is secretly experimenting on citizens? Yeah, they're dosing people with LSD without their knowledge, and they're running personality erasure programs in university hospitals." What do you think that person would have said?
Please just comment your thoughts. What do you think that person would have said? I think he would have looked at you just like the NPCs still do and like, you're crazy, bro. You're insane. What? LSD in the CIA? No way. Let's get you into one of those loony bins and give you a lobotomy. The fluoride stare. You're right.
They obviously would have called you insane. They would have said there's no way the government's doing that, and that's a conspiracy theory. Well, now we know that they were wrong. It was happening. They just didn't know. So my question isn't that complicated. If a program like that was running in secret then, what makes you think you would know if something like that was running right now? Because here's the thing. That part came after 1973. If it continued, it would have been a specific focus, not general psychological experiments. Something more targeted, perhaps even on a larger scale. Trauma-based conditioning, starting early enough in childhood that the brain
Project Artichoke
itself forms around it, for the purpose of creating people who carry programming that they don't know they carry. For insurance, for blackmail, for intelligence, for control. But the real question is, what is the blue butterfly?
Ooh, this would be a good time for you if you're here. What is the blue butterfly? What is the blue butterfly?
By the end of this video, you'll see it. I'm talking about a secret project that was wiped from the internet. And I'm going to show you that it never ended. This.
Thank you for the bless yous.
Is Project.
The Gesundheits. The Salus. Thank you.
Project Monarch.
Project Monarch. This is going to get crazy, bro. For all of you guys who've never went down a Mind Unveiled with me, this gets crazy, bro. I'm telling you right now, you're going to want to buckle up. Make sure you grab a diaper, because we're all about to have our minds blown.
The name Project Monarch is not in any government document. The name itself may have been invented, a label invented to describe something real that operated under different internal names. But that's what makes this interesting. Because if the name is fake, then why is the topic censored? Let me show you. First, search MKUltra, right? You'll get Wikipedia, you'll get articles, it'll explain everything. Confirmed, documented. Alright, now search Project Monarch. Notice the difference. You don't get a Wikipedia article talking about a program, you get a specific woman's name. And the first line of the page doesn't describe the history of it. It describes her as a conspiracy theorist who makes claims about a supposed government program. Then there's an academic quote already loaded on the page from a political scientist who specializes in conspiracy theories as a cultural genre.
How can you specialize in conspiracy theories? That's a real ass question, bro. I mean, I'm a specialist in conspiracy theories. If that's the case, if you can just be a specialist of conspiracy theories. Come on, bro. I got a fucking tinfoil castle. Alright?
So, positioning to destroy her credibility before you even read a single word of what she's written. This is actually different for other conspiracies. Search any other conspiracy, you get debunking articles, science explainers, cultural analysis. Sure, it might be hard to find the videos, but the normal treatment for something outside the mainstream. Project Monarch doesn't get that treatment. There's not one article on it. It gets something more specific. It gets redirected to a single person with a preloaded discrediting mechanism. Everything else is essentially wiped on Google. Basically, the result isn't "this is dumb and not real." The result is, here is the person you shouldn't believe without even understanding what she said, and then some random butterfly results. Okay, but what's strange is Google knows exactly what you're looking for when you type in Project Monarch. But look at the rest of the results. A butterfly science center, an app, a monarch migration tracking study. It's not even acknowledging the conspiracy. It doesn't do what it does for every other conspiracy topic, giving you these skeptic articles. It does one thing and one thing only. It sends you to Kathy O'Brien. What you might not know is that Project Monarch is a pre-internet topic. It was being discussed in 1995. That's over 30 years of material. There were entire YouTube channels devoted to this before the 2010s filter. Hundreds if not thousands of videos. So if you remember the old internet, you know the genre was everywhere. Album covers, music videos, celebrity photo shoots, the butterfly imagery on everything. Now if you try to find it, it's been erased. So the question is, what if MKUltra didn't stop in 1973? What if it evolved for the purpose of creating people who are not aware of their programming? This is what the internet has termed Project Monarch. The claim is that Project Monarch is a secret subset of MKUltra that continued after it was officially shut down. The focus is called alters, separate personality states that can be triggered and controlled independently from the person's primary conscious identity. The result is a person who doesn't know they carry it. The symbol the internet associates with all of this is the butterfly, specifically the monarch butterfly. A monarch is a ruler, a king, someone with total authority over those beneath them. If you were online in 2010, then you know what I'm talking about. I mean, it's everywhere. The butterfly, the checkerboard floors, the one-eye symbolism, the kitten print. Then around 2016, the genre just started disappearing. But keep in mind, the internet didn't come up with any of this. Before YouTube, there was a woman named Candy Jones. That was her stage name. Her real name was Jessica Wilcox. She was a successful model and a radio host. Under hypnotherapy, she revealed she had an alter named Arlene Grant, a separate personality that had worked for the CIA without her primary identity ever knowing about it. Her husband documented everything. The book came out in 1976, before the internet, before Reddit, and YouTube. And then there's the woman who comes up every single time you search this topic. But she didn't find this on the internet. She lived it. Her name is Kathy O'Brien. Yes, the one result that comes up when you search this. Well, let's take a look at what she actually says. In 1995, she published a book called Transformation of America, written with her partner, Mark Phillips. What's interesting about this is, it's not like she posted this on some blog. She literally submitted it as a formal congressional disclosure. And the title isn't Transformation of America, it's Transformation. Also, her co-author Mark Phillips spent decades as a DoD subcontractor in behavior modification research. He signed an oath of secrecy. That's the man who co-wrote this book, the man who opens it with a thesis. The thesis is bigger than just one survivor's story. He's arguing that mind control operates at two levels. The hard tier is what happened to Kathy. Trauma-based conditioning starting in childhood. Compartmentalized identities. We're talking about controlling people, from abuse victims to politicians and celebrities. The soft tier is what's happening to everyone else. You are under a trance. Look at the cover of the book. It's a map of the United States with radio waves emanating across it. In her book, she says, quote, "To every American unaware of the mind control atrocities prevailing in this country, what Americans don't know is destroying them from the inside out." End quote. So Wikipedia has her titled as a conspiracy theorist. But you can see what they're doing. They're trying to show you the most craziest things that she says. But here's what Wikipedia left out. If she was in a room with handlers running documented trauma-based conditioning, then what she experienced was whatever they staged her for. Performances designed to create memories so bizarre that no one would even believe them. The most effective suppression is when the witness tells the truth, and the truth sounds insane. What she described was not abstract.
Isn't that so true, though, bro? Isn't that true? Like how most of it works, bro, is that the truth is usually the one that sounds the most insane. I hate to say it like that, but I really believe that, bro. We're coming to find out the more and more we do research individually and collectively that the truth sounds the most insane, bro.
She named specific programs, specific handlers, specific locations, specific politicians. Childhood trauma conditioning starting before age 5. Compartmentalized personality states that could be triggered and controlled. A network that ran through military intelligence, through entertainment, and through political circles. But here's what specifically matters for this video. She described the conditioning architecture, and it has a template. A specific framework that programmers use to structure the alter system in child subjects. Are you ready to go down the rabbit hole?
Isn't it just so crazy how connected Alice in Wonderland is to like conspiracies as well as like the Matrix? He's told to follow the white rabbit, bro.
The blueprint is Alice. Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland from 1865. She said this was not a metaphor. This is the literal programming framework used across facilities, across decades, producing people whose primary identity has no access to what was built underneath it. Kathy O'Brien went public in 1995. She and Mark Phillips submitted it directly to Congress as formal disclosure. And Wikipedia calls her a conspiracy theorist? Doesn't even mention that. Okay, but this is the part that matters for the timeline. When she went public in 1995, there was already an organization whose entire function, whether you think that was intentional or not, was to ensure that testimony like hers could never be taken seriously in court. The False Memory Syndrome Foundation was founded in 1992. Phillips names it in the book. He called it a well-funded organization with very questionable agendas. The academic confirmation that 2 CIA MKUltra researchers sat on its founding board didn't come out until years later. They named it before anyone had documented why. 2 of the researchers on its founding board had something specific in common. both had previously worked on CIA
There's Jolly West, like you said.
MKUltra sub-projects. And one of them, remember that 1953 letter I mentioned at the start of the video? The one proposing experiments on presumably unwilling subjects? The one the CIA called extremely fruitful? That was him, the same man. He was also separately appointed Jack Ruby's court psychiatrist in 1964. He declared Ruby mentally incompetent. The foundation provided expert witnesses in court, academics who testified that trauma survivors' memories are inherently unreliable, without ever having to engage the content of what the survivors were saying. That ran for 27 years. But you know what's crazy? The one who testified in trial after trial that recovered memories cannot be trusted was a funded member of a research network that Epstein personally bankrolled. She testified as the first defense expert at Ghislaine Maxwell's trial against Epstein's own victims. The foundation dissolved on December 31st, 2019, the same year Epstein died, supposedly. This is the denial machine. But for now, what can we actually verify? In 1995, at a formal government advisory hearing called the ACHRE, the Advisory Committee on Human Radiation Experiments, 3 women testified under oath about CIA childhood mind control experiments conducted at Tulane University. A law professor named Alan Shefflin went on record afterward and said, quote, "Some of the information provided is absolutely true and could not have been derived from any published source," end quote. That testimony was excluded from the final report. Official reason? The subjects were too young. Now, I want to talk about the person with the largest voice talking about this right now.
This is where shit starts to get weird. I'm just letting you all know.
Candace. Candace Owens has said things about this topic that no mainstream figure with her reach has ever said. In February of this year, she named Project Monarch directly on camera. She said what began as Project Monarch in Germany ultimately became MKUltra in America. She said there's zero reason to believe it stopped. So even she's saying this operation never ended. But here's the thing. Something isn't really sitting quite right with me. I just want to point out some things that you said because it ties in directly with what I'm investigating. I believe we're actually looking into the same thing. So her new series is The Bride of Charlie. In her opening episode, she calls it The Wrinkle in Time. She framed the origin of Monarch in Germany. The implication is that it's foreign, imported, something that infected America from the outside. This is documented history. Operation Paperclip brought Nazi researchers into American intelligence programs deliberately. MKUltra was built here, funded by American money, run by American officers. But it almost feels like the video makes this point of origin at Germany because, well, think about it, it moves the responsibility to the other side of the ocean. Okay, not that weird, but I noticed that. And then she made an episode a while ago called Project Looking Glass. Now, immediately that title caught my eye without even watching it because if you know this community, that title suggests Alice in Wonderland programming. The looking glass is the transition mechanism between primary identity and the alter, which is exactly what O'Brien was talking about. I suspect that someone on her team knew this and used this video as a means to cover the subject up. I'm not saying that's true. I don't know now. But I'm saying that's what it seems like. Because look, she opens it with something real. She's going through the claim that Charlie Kirk was surrounded by handlers his entire life. People who shaped everything about him from the beginning. That is real and a valid thread. But then, out of nowhere, the episode pivots to a CIA program based on technology stolen from ancient Sumerians that let operators view future timelines. So CIA time travel. What's going on here? I thought she was going to talk about Project Monarch. This is the part that doesn't sit well with me. Listen to what she says in this episode.
They hate light. Alyssa writes, Kathy O'Brien would be a powerful interview. You have a platform to give her a stronger voice. I just finished her book, Transformation of America. I guess I've heard about Kathy O'Brien. There are so many people that I could speak to. I know about Project Monarch. We've spoken about it on this show as being the precursor to what the Nazis did here, which was all about traumatizing children.
So you do know about her, and you just so happened to mention her in the Looking Glass video? You know about Project Monarch. But I don't see why you haven't connected this to Erica. Is Erica and Alice? Now here's what Candace is actually investigating right now. She's looking at Romania, specifically at Erica Kirk and her charity, Romanian Angels, which operated in Constanța, Romania beginning in 2012. Romania is in the Epstein files. There's a JP Morgan wire instruction where Epstein personally directs his banker to send $10,000 to Banca Transylvania in Iași, Romania, for, and I'm quoting, the girl from Romania. In another email, he writes to billionaire Tom Pritzker about the girl from Romania that you met at my house, and asks if there's a starting position at one of the Pritzker's Hyatt hotels. Now look at Erica's charity work in Constanța. She personally thanks a U.S. Army colonel by name in her own promotional video, Colonel Otto Busher III, who commanded the Black Sea Area Support Team at Mihail Kolganishanu Air Base. In 2019, a former base translator filed a criminal complaint alleging Busher ran a prostitution and trafficking ring out of that base involving girls as young as 16. The investigation was closed because the NATO Status of Forces Agreement gave jurisdiction to the United States. He was never prosecuted. This is the colonel she's thanking on camera for helping deliver gifts to orphans? In January 2026, Erica launched her speaking tour at Harvest Christian Fellowship, Pastor Greg Laurie's church. 4 months earlier, 22 federal lawsuits were filed against that church alleging that former pastor Paul Havsgaard sexually abused and trafficked children at church-sponsored homes in Romania from 1998 to 2008. The lawsuits cite the Trafficking Victims Protection Act. Church leadership was warned in 2004 that Havsgaard was a PDF. They kept him because he was, and this is from the filing, too important to fundraising. Now here's the part Candace almost found. Her Romania research led to a DoD contractor. And she's reading this company description aloud on camera. She says, disrupted cyber technologies for applications in relationship to the way humans think. But what's weird about it is, after reading this, she starts randomly laughing and calls it a word pretzel. It almost seems like her script told her to laugh there because that reaction made no sense. It wasn't a word pretzel. Disruptive cyber technologies in relationship to the way humans think. That is a description of programmable cognition. That's what this video is about. She was staring directly at it and she laughed. Okay, but that company is called AZ Tech International. It was founded by Laurie Fransbeck. That's Erica Kirk's mother. So listen to this and tell me if you think it's weird.
Relative to sustainability of critical infrastructure protection. Blah, 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 supercalifragilistic, it's beyond the notion, big word, sustainability, big word, sustainability, vocabulary word, ta-da, technology, tech, it's so high-tech, you have to have a highly technical BS mind to think that that makes any sense. Like I said, these people are not smarter than you ever lower than us, they're just more corrupt, that's absurd, nothing, it's just a word pretzel. We're in a pretzel, she's saying a lot of words, and she just keeps throwing in sustainability, and then it's like, sustainability, sustainable functional way to monitor the sustainable functional technologies and working with the Department of Defense to do supercalifragilistic, see how Dutch states. Okay, Lori. Okay. One interview, however, where I have to deeply understand it, so I get real cerebral with that, you know? Explain it to me, like I'm two.
Well, it does make sense. Let me explain it to you. So by episode 3, she reveals that Lori is Erica's mother. Lori runs DoD-connected companies. The family's chasing government defense contracts. Fort Huachuca is an intelligence base. There's a web of shell companies. Then, by episode 6, she reads the literal description of mind control technology disruptive cyber technologies for applications in relationship to the way humans think. From the company's bio, and she's doing this on camera, and she just laughs it all off. You had all the pieces. The DoD contracts, the intel base, now the company description that literally describes programmable cognition, and you're just gonna laugh? Either she doesn't understand what she's reading, or she was told to move past it. There's no third option that makes sense here. Erica's public narrative is that she was raised by a single mom. Her mother founded a DoD defense contractor. Her mother runs the E3 Tech Group, which builds EMP-hardened technology for the Department of Defense, tested at Fort Huachuca, a military intelligence base. Her father was a program research director at the same company. Her grandfather, Carl Kenneth Francebay, was a U.S. Army captain with a Silver Star and a Bronze Star, who served as vice president of manufacturing at the American Bank Note Company, the firm that printed currency for over 100 countries. So 3 generations, defense, intelligence, and currency? Before she even married Charlie Kirk, Erica was in the entertainment industry. Miss Arizona USA 2012, a Trump-owned pageant. She's even in a country music video. She worked as a model, an actress, and a casting director in New York and China. At 24, she appeared in an EMP documentary alongside former CIA Director James Woolsey, so in her mother's exact field. She starred in an unreleased film called November Renaissance about nanotechnology, mind control, and programmed assassins. Parts of that film were shot at Fort Huachuca, the same military intelligence base where the mother has DoD contracts. Right country, right target. The CIA can time travel, but the idea that Project Monarch is happening right now, affecting every single American, is completely insane, right?
What do you think, bro? That's a lot of information, dude. That's a lot of fucking gas, bro. What do you think's happening, bro? It seems kind of fucking crazy, bro. I don't necessarily have negative thoughts about Candace Owens thinking that she's like in on it and shit, but when it's explained like that, you know what I'm saying?
The thing is, what if this is beyond Erica? Imagine being born into this system. And I'm not saying she's innocent. I'm just saying, I think you and Erica have more in common than you realize. You both came through the same pipeline. You want to solve this? The documents are here. The EFTA IDs are on the screen. And it's not from Germany. Not time travel. If you're free to follow where they actually go, follow them. Now let me show you the real looking glass. A modern 2026 example of how Project Monarch is happening today. This is why we need to keep this knowledge alive. It's time to wake up. Once you see the blueprint, you can't ever go back. Have you guys been seeing Alyssa Liu? At first, honestly, I thought nothing of it. She has good energy, it was a creative performance. I mean, there's no reason to deny that. She just won gold at the 2026 Winter Olympics. First American woman to win individual figure skating gold in over 20 years. So this is going viral right now, but I want to talk about the gala performance. This is the one that's really going viral. I'm sure you guys have seen it. The one that gets the edits. She skated to Stateside by Pink Panthers, and she copied the choreography from the music video. Notice the blue dress. Her name is Alyssa. 5 letters. That's etymologically linked to Alice. Now you may think that's a reach. Well, let's do a breakdown of Pink Panthers' new Stateside video, because by the end of this video, it will be clear as day. So this is what America represents. This is literally happening right now. This is what we're promoting at the Olympics. If you don't believe it, go watch the stateside video if you haven't. Pink Panthers is presented as a sexualized robotic doll, posed behind glass in a shop window, on display, lifeless until the music starts. Guys, this is clearly MK Ultra. You know what to look for now that I showed you in part 4. If you're in denial, go watch part 4 first. The thing is they've been way better at hiding it. But still, they're just too on the nose. This is Alice programming. You see the checkerboard floor? 2 secret pillars? They know you know. They're just being more creative with it. Taking you behind the veil, behind the stage. Instead of black and white for the checkerboard, they did red and white. And the black and white instead gets added to the cross. Notice the keys in the background. It's the same symbolism. They're just using proxy swapping. Regardless, this is clearly sexualized. What's the issue? The issue is the sexualized doll imagery mixed with MK Ultra imagery. And it's being promoted to young women through Alyssa. They are singing a song, and subconsciously, they are programmed, but the surface level personality is not aware of it. In the room, there are several phallic symbols. And notice the blue star. Now you may think that's a reach if I told you that's hinting towards the blue butterfly. But wait. This entire music video is disorienting, fast play splashes, and subliminal sexual imagery that you can only see frame by frame, like with this blonde on the pole. Go watch the video, that's only up for a few frames. Is it right? I don't know. Yeah, you're taking my control. Listen to the lyrics. They're telling you, literally, girls being trafficked around the world, mind-controlled sex slaves with alters, hidden personalities, aka Project Monarch. That's what this video is encoded with. This blonde woman, Zara, represents Pink Panthers' alter trigger ego. When activated, she becomes Alice. Notice all the postcards. The postcards? Those are the real story. She's being pushed around the world. This is the American dream. The lyrics aren't even that coded. She opens freezing outside. Her coat, her identity, her cover is inside. She left it behind. She's exposed. She's going stateside, flying to America for a guy. But it's stateside. She's entering a new state of mind. And they connect the two on purpose. You can be my American. Who's the American? She's British, being transported. The American is the handler. She wants him to be her identity anchor. I tracked your plane ride for when you're in tonight. She's monitoring his flight schedule? That's subject tracking before the handler's arrival. Never been abroad before. Now I'm knocking through your door. Naivety. First time crossing. No one treats me this way. That's the recruitment line. The grooming. Are all boys out here the same? Yeah, because it's not about individual men. It's a system. And she's flying intercontinental. Not just to America, across the continents. They had the audacity to make Alyssa dance this in front of millions of people. Don't believe it? Then explain to me why this video is filled with butterflies. You can't run from it. This is Project Monarch. At the 1 minute mark, the entire music video gets flooded with butterflies. Right around the time, the blonde girl comes in. Alice, the trigger personality. Her alter or her sexual doll state. That's not metamorphosis. That's mind control symbolism.
What's up, Australia? What's up?
Don't you get it? This is so much bigger than just the files. This is the mass sexual programming of women. A girl named Alyssa, Alice in a blue dress, with striped hair, at the most watched sporting event on Earth, performing a song built around sexual monarch control. And the entire world watched it and applauded. She's so amazing. That shows you how layered this is. This isn't new. It's been in your face for over 60 years. Alice programming. However, what you just saw with Pink Panthers belongs to a specific category of programming. The Alice programming has a wide range of application, but for sex programming, the internet has a specific name for this type of programming. It's called kitten programming. The programming has a hierarchy, like a monarch, not just for the masses, but also for celebrities. Let's start with the first mind-controlled celebrity, Marilyn Monroe. Now what's interesting is, this personality was an entirely separate being from Norma Jean Mortensen. She referred to Marilyn in the third person. She said Marilyn would appear when she chose to let her out. It seems quite clear, even with the information available to the public, that she was exploited and subjected to mind control by powerful handlers. To what degree is for you to decide? In her youth, there were reports that she was SA'd as a teenager and forced to move out. This is around the age of 11. Now this isn't evidence, but I thought it was strange. There are some photos online of her as a child, with people describing it as a very Alice-like dress. It's not an Alice dress, but it's similar. Before she was famous, she worked at a burlesque house in Los Angeles. Anton LaVey, who would later found the Church of Satan, was the house musician. His own biography documents the relationship. Basically, the conspiracy community believes that Anton was a Hollywood programmer, and he did the same thing with Jane Mansfield, who was known as the working man's Marilyn Monroe. Interestingly, both Monroe and Mansfield were part of a Blue Book model agency. Blue Book. So she was recruited as a model. Take note of that because this story is the same story. And from there, they completely transformed her. Look at the before and after. Her whole aesthetic changed. And now she has the platinum blonde, right? The first dumb blonde. You don't think that was by design? The gentlemen preferred blondes, right? The full Monroe story is insane. By the mid-1950s, Monroe's world had narrowed to 4 people. Her acting coach, Lee Strasberg, 3 psychiatrists, Margaret Hohenberg, Marianne Criss, and Ralph Greenson. Her housekeeper even described her days as her doctor's appointments and her acting lessons were virtually all she had to look forward to. So contact with her biological family was blocked. Relatives who tried to reach her were turned away. The visits escalated in frequency, and she deteriorated. When she died in August 1962, her estate was distributed as follows: Lee Strasberg, 75%, Dr. Marianne Criss, 25%. Her will was contested by her longtime business manager on grounds of undue influence, but the challenge failed. The people who isolated her, controlled her, and ran her sessions legally owned her in death. But this is the crazy part. She actually left a document, and it's called The Surgeon Story. Apparently she wrote it herself, and it's in poem form. Some describe it as a nightmare, but her family researcher describes it as her account of a programming session with Strasberg and Hohenberg specifically. Read what she wrote. Best find a surgeon, Strasberg, to cut me open, which I don't mind since Dr. H has prepared me, given me anesthetic. She doesn't mind? She's been prepared. That's compliance language, not nightmare language. Everything in the room is white. In fact, I can't see anyone, just white objects. And there's absolutely nothing there. The only thing that came out was so finely cut sawdust, like out of a Raggedy Ann doll. The patient existing of complete emptiness. Sawdust where a soul should be. She writes about herself as a doll, complete emptiness. In 1961, Dr. Chris convinced Monroe to check into Payne Whitney's psychiatric ward. She was told it was for rest. Well, it was a locked ward. She actually wrote to Greenson from inside, saying, "I felt I was in some kind of prison for a crime I hadn't committed." When she wouldn't comply, 2 men and 2 women carried her by all fours to the 7th floor. She was the world's most famous woman in a padded cell, put there by the psychiatrist who would inherit 25% of her estate. But there's one more insane detail. Monroe had 2 failed pregnancies. The official account is miscarriage. In Lena Pepitoni's book, Marilyn's own words tell a different story. Quote, "Don't take my baby." So they take my baby from me, and I never saw it again. End quote. Does that remind you of anything? Remember part 1? So let's break down more celebrities with this powder. Step 1. Discovery by a handler figure at a young age. Step 2. Construction of a named persona, a separate identity with its own name, its own costume, its own behavioral profile. Step 3. A butterfly and/or Alice symbolism appears, and the branding, the tattoos, the album artwork, the imagery, it shows up after the handler relationship is established. Step 4. A public dissolution, a breakdown, a hospitalization, a very visible unraveling. Step 5. Institutionalization, conservatorship, legal control, or even death. The butterfly marks step 3. Not freedom, containment at peak control. Here are the most famous women in the music industry that you all know who fit this pattern exactly. Whitney Houston was signed at 19 by Clive Davis, who kept a controlling hand in her career for decades. She had a suspicious death in a bathtub at the Beverly Hilton in 2012, and that night, a Grammy party was already running at the same hotel. It continued as scheduled. Her daughter, Bobby Christina, was found in a bathtub 3 years later. Mariah Carey signed to Columbia Records at 18, and she later called it a music prison. Security cameras in every room, armed guards, zero freedom, total control of her image. She named the estate where she was kept Sing Sing, and when she finally left, she named her comeback album Butterfly. We all know the Britney Spears story. Well, she got a butterfly tattoo in 2003. She described herself, at the height of her commercial control, as a sort of child robot. Beyoncé publicly named a second personality she accesses on stage. She called it Sasha Fierce. And she described exactly how the switch works. Usually, when I hear the chords, when I put on my stilettos, then Sasha Fierce appears, in my posture and the way I speak, and everything is different. Rihanna was 16 when Jay-Z signed her to Def Jam. Under my umbrella? Do you see the meaning? In Miley Cyrus. This is probably one of the best monarch examples if you know her full history. Obviously, she's Hannah Montana. That's her Alice. Stefani Germanotta has an entire hierarchy of altars. Her music videos contain clear occult symbolism. Her performing altar is called Lady Gaga, and above that, she's Mother Monster. So an entity that sits above the performer. She literally tells you, go rewatch Bad Romance. The music video shows an asset kidnapped, drugged, and sold to a buyer. Over 1 billion views. Kesha's case is the most legally documented handler-asset relationship in recorded music history. Her 2017 album, Rainbow, ends in butterfly imagery. Nicki Minaj has a male alter she calls Roman Zelensky. In 2012, she also released a song called Marilyn Monroe, and the video shows her embodying Monroe. Taylor Swift built a decade-long persona as the innocent country pop girl next door. In 2017, she staged its murder. The "Look What You Made Me Do" video opens in a graveyard, a birdcage, a clone tower of all prior Taylor cells, each one eliminated. The bridge is the direct announcement. The old Taylor can't come to the phone right now. Why? Because she's dead. 1 billion views. Billie Eilish. She released her first single at 14, was signed to Interscope at 15, and was 17 when Bury a Friend was shot. In it, multiple sets of hands in black rubber gloves inject unlabeled syringes into her spine. She's dragged across the floor. The song is written from the perspective of the monster under your bed. Melanie Martinez. She built her entire career on this template. The Crybaby album in 2015. Then in 2019, K-12, children sent to a facility where they're medicated, monitored, and shaped. Checkerboard floors throughout. Wide Awake from Katy Perry. Is that an inversion of Eyes Wide Shut? 2012. Over 1 billion views. In the video is an explicit Alice in Wonderland sequence. A Wonderland maze. A child self waiting inside. Poison fruit. A mirror. And then a butterfly garden. Rihanna, S&M, 2011. Checkerboard rooms. A handler leash. Bondage throughout. Banned in 11 countries. This mind control destroys the sacred feminine within the female victim, turning them into nothing more than a piece of meat. Is this what America stands for? It's not just women either. Men have gone through beta programming as well. Think about it. She named herself after the agency, Candace Intelligence Agency. The crew neck is $60. Okay, but who's her husband? Her husband's closest friend is Andrew Tate, probably the second most famous accused trafficker in the world. There's a photo of Farmer and Tate on the wall of Tate's Romanian mansion. So they're friends. Well, Tate's father was a U.S. Air Force intelligence linguist at Field Station Berlin, part of the Five Eyes Echelon network. He publicly claimed CIA. Keep in mind, Andrew moved to Romania, and when the charges came out, they went, an entire movement was built. The old self dies. Community replaces family. Hierarchy with levels you ascend. Chemical modification. And at the top, the monarch. The red pill pipeline. It's the same architecture. It's just for men. Want to be in the club? Want to be the top G? And by the way, this isn't a beta male take. The irony is, red pill content is actual MKUltra beta programming. I'm just giving you the esoteric take. And it doesn't stop there. It's all over Hollywood. The Manchurian Candidate is the best example to start with. What's insane is the first version even tells you that this is Alice programming. So it's undeniable. That's the template. If you want to see this clearly, then watch the 2004 version. A politician engineered to become president with no knowledge that he's been programmed. One phrase spoken aloud, and he's gone. A separate personality surfaces, carrying separate memories, executing instructions the primary identity will never remember receiving. The 2004 version was science fiction. The original is based on real MKUltra history. Silence of the Lambs, 1991. The cover is a death head hawk moth covering a woman's mouth. A young woman being conditioned, shaped, and used by an older male genius who understands the human mind at a level no one else does. He gives her information in exchange for pieces of herself. That's the handler dynamic. Dollhouse, 2009. Human beings with their personalities wiped and reprogrammed for clients, given names from the NATO phonetic alphabet. Alpha, Sierra, Victor, Echo, and they don't know their own triggers. Fox canceled it after 1 season. Black Swan, 2010. A dancer loses herself in a role and a second personality emerges that can do things her primary self cannot. Special abilities. The transformation is treated as an achievement. Nita's bedroom has butterfly posters and a white rabbit next to the window. Those aren't random design choices. A Clockwork Orange, 1971, Kubrick. The government straps Alex down, forces his eyes open, drugs him, and subjects him to aversion conditioning until his personality is fundamentally altered. They don't punish him, they reprogram him. And Kubrick showed you the exact method, step by step. That was 1971, 2 years before MKUltra was officially ended. The Butterfly Effect, 2004. A man discovers he has suppressed entire traumatic episodes from his childhood with no conscious memory of them. When he learns to access those memories, he finds versions of himself that he never knew existed. The whole film is built on one idea. The childhood events you don't remember are the ones shaping everything. Okay, now there are so many more, literally in the hundreds. We're not going to break it all down right now. We're just going to go straight to the movie that lays it all out for you. Because there's always a movie that lays it all out. Sure, you could say that all of this was just created to...
All right, guys. 2 hours and 30 in. We're going to finish this tomorrow. MKUltra's real, bro. Shit's real, bro. Shit runs deep. I don't necessarily agree either, Scruff, with what he says about Candace Owens and George being like fucking Andrew Tate's best friend. I don't know. I haven't done a lot of research into that, but I don't necessarily resonate with that. Does that change how I feel about Candace and the stuff Candace puts out? No, not necessarily. Knowledge is power. What you do with that knowledge is ultimately up to you. I love you. I hope you all have a blessed day.